Good evening, welcome to APTN National News. I'm Dennis Ward. Nunavut has fashion shows. They're usually for visitors to the territory. The fashion show in Iqaluit over the weekend was different. It was by Inuit for Inuit. Our Kent Driscoll has more from Iqaluit.
When you see sealskin snow pants, you know this is a Nunavut fashion show. And to get here took two young Inuit designers teaming up to show off their peers. Victoria Kakuktanik and Melissa Adagutsiak met in Paris this year, where both were showing off their uniquely Inuit designs.
It was very overwhelming. It was kind of like surreal. It was almost like unbelievable until we actually got there. Like, oh my gosh, we're in Paris. What are we doing here? And it was really great. It was such an honor to be there as an Inuit, promoting our Inuit culture and showcasing our Inuit designs. So it was like we are very honored to be able to do that.
A few months later, here they are with a full-on fashion runway show in Iqaluit, featuring 6 local designers.
We both decided that it would be a really great idea for us to come back to Iqaluit and show our friends and family our garments.
Traditional and modern at once, from the drum dancing intro to those runway scowls. Both fashion and Inuit culture were walking the runway, just like these women wanted.
Really love to see everybody coming together to put on a show. Like, there's so many different things that go into it, and love to bring it back home to where I learned how to sew.
For one night at least, the Kujizi room of the Frobisher Inn became a fashion runway. 2 local fashion standouts gave their peers a place alongside them, and Iqaluit residents supported their local talent with a loud, excited, full house. Iqaluit isn't Paris, and it didn't need to be. Not on this night. Kent Driscoll, APTN National News, Iqaluit.
Looks like a great night. To Saskatchewan now, where a vice chief with the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations says jurisdiction over children is a top priority. Vice Chief David Pratt says it's up to Indigenous peoples to teach the children about culture, not the provincial government. He says Indigenous people have the best solutions and practices to heal intergenerational trauma, especially from the residential school system.
We support the current child welfare legislation. You know, it's not a perfect bill, but obviously anything right now is better than the status quo. Status quo can't continue. You know the facts and the number of children that are in care, and we're encouraging the provincial government to work with us on the implementation and the transition once this federal bill becomes law.
A Saskatchewan artist is making portraits of Holocaust survivors and residential school survivors to create a silent dialogue of hope and remembrance. Carol Wiley's inspiration came after she went to the Saskatoon Holocaust Memorial in 2016. Wiley says she grew up hearing the stories of what Hitler said and did about her Jewish culture, and noticed the similarities between the Holocaust survivors and the residential school survivors, in that both the concentration camps and residential schools were both final solutions. Wiley says this exhibit is her personal call to action.
It's just a small little step, but I mean, when you listen to one person's story, it can really have an impact on you in terms of understanding what that experience might have been like. And I've heard the numbers of children that went to residential school, but numbers are so abstract. Whereas you hear one person's story, you look in their eyes, you look on their face, and hear what they went through. It has a much bigger impact on you.
In Sault Ste. Marie, a brand new organization aimed at promoting Indigenous artists in Northern Ontario is hosting its first event over the weekend. Today, the Northern Indigenous Artist Alliance is highlighting a dancer from Lake Temagami. CTV's Jairus Patterson has more.
Christine Friday has been dancing and performing around the province for the last 25 years. The Indigenous artist is in Sault Ste. Marie this weekend, taking part in the first Northern Indigenous Artists Alliance workshop.
This is my gift. This is why I've come to Earth and to share my gifts, and this is how I'm able to express and create meaning in the world and extend that meaning to other people, to be that inspiration that you want to see in the world.
Friday's family were students at the Shinwalk Residential School in the Sioux. That's where Alliance members first saw her dance, as she was telling her story through artistic movement. It was then that the organization knew it wanted to be involved with her.
And her dance moved me to tears. And I think all great art creates a strong emotional reaction. So I thought, you know, because of her family connection and just the excellence of her craft, that it would be such a gift to bring her back and have her also share those skills with the community.
For me, this is about sharing our stories of who we are and where we come from, and as Indigenous artists, it's really important that we find those spaces to share those stories and to change the narrative that has been imposed on us by a colonial system.
Friday was teaching her form of dancing to a half-dozen people, and on Sunday she will be screening a documentary dance film about her family and their traditional family territory. What does the Alliance have planned for the future? Well, that all depends on funding applications. But the goal for the organization is to collaborate with Northern artists in their communities. Jairus Patterson, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie.
For more than 4 decades, the First Nations University Spring Celebration Powwow has brought people from all over the province of Saskatchewan and beyond to Regina. With more, here's our colleagues at CTV.
It was created by students from the First Nations University 41 years ago.
Right about now is they're writing final exams and they're finishing their terms, and so they thought, what a great time to celebrate.
Looking for a way to wrap up a stressful time of year, students organized a powwow.
The first one was small. It was held on the university campus, and then it grew to what we have here this weekend.
The spring powwow now sees hundreds of dancers from across the province and beyond gather in Regina once a year. And while everybody from any background is welcome, its roots still lie with the university students.
The students are still a really important part of the powwow.
When you come together and hear the drums, see the dances, you get this good energy, this good vibe, and you'll be able to go into final exams well energized and motivated.
Dancers of all ages take part in more than 30 different dances, and those who can no longer dance, who once taught their tradition to younger generations, are recognized.
We dance for those who can't dance. We dance for the elders who sit and watch and feel good. We dance for the ones who are sick.
Although the type of dance might be different, and the reasons for dancing might vary, the common theme in the powwow is its ability to bring everyone together.
Everybody's welcome. It's all tribes coming together and getting together, dance and celebrate life.
Stephanie Davis, CTV News, Regina.
We've got to step aside for a quick break, but first, here's a look at a story we're working on.
Earth Day was celebrated by a water ceremony in rainy Nova Scotia. The Mi'kmaq grandmothers welcomed the rain and called it a water blessing. They said it was a reminder to keep protecting the Sebenegati River from the Alton Gas Project, which will dump brine into the river.
We're celebrating, you know, the power of this river, the power of Mother Earth, and the love we have for the water, and the respect and the gratitude we have for clean water, to be able to drink the water. There's many places on Earth they can't do that.
That's tomorrow on APTN National News.
Here's a look at Tuesday's weather forecast starting on the East Coast. +2 with showers for St. John's, 7 above and rain for Halifax, 0s for Happy Valley, Goose Bay and Cartwright, -5 under sunny skies in Nain, 14 above under the sun for Montreal, +4 and rain in Val-d'Or, 18 in London with showers, 20 for Sarnia and Windsor, 16 above and sunny skies for Thunder Bay, 0 with the chance of snow in Timmins, +6 and rain in Churchill, 14 above under sunny skies for God's Lake, 17 in Winnipeg, 20 in Brandon, 21 with showers in Dauphin, plus 21 under the sun in Regina and Estevan, 20 in North Battleford, 18 with showers in Meadow Lake, 16 under the sun in La Ronge. Welcome back. Nunavut celebrated its 20th birthday as a territory recently. In a special series, our reporter Charlotte Moore-Jacobs partnered with Up Here magazine to travel to several remote communities and ask youth what challenges they face and what they hope to see in Nunavut's future. Here's an encore presentation of Charlotte's story on employment.
Rankin Inlet was traditionally a place to camp when following the caribou migration. It wasn't until the 1950s and 60s that Inuit settled into the area to work. Since then, it has been a mining, transportation, and economic hub.
But yeah, it's always been a mining town, and when you guys went to explore the other day, we saw the old mills from the mine, and if you remember playing around there, you had a pretty good childhood.
Does it feel to be a hero? Iqaluit Scholdes grew up here and wants the same childhood for his two sons. But he doesn't want the same resource extraction jobs paving their future into adulthood. For many like him, government and mining jobs seem like the only feasible gig to cover high living expenses. At least for now.
My Rankin's home. Nunavut's home. I want to raise my boys there. Or here. If you hang out with my boys a little while, you'll see that they're their own little people.
Rankin Inlet is a young town. Nearly 30% of the population is under 14 years of age. Scholdes is hopeful his boys and other youth in the community will be able to explore a more diverse range of jobs. And he thinks education is the key, and so does the Nunavut government, who are trying to get more kids to get through school and go on to university.
When you come back with knowledge about anything, I guess any trade, any profession, you come back with knowledge where you can even pass on that knowledge to somebody who's from here to on-site training or anything like that. They're always celebrated.
That pride is exactly what Donovan Gordon Tutu has found while enrolled in Nunavut Saskatchewan, a transitional program in Ottawa for Inuit students. He has returned to Rankin to work at the mines and save money before attending university down south for political science and Indigenous studies.
It taught us a lot about our history, about the land claims agreement and how that came to be. And learning about that stuff is quite important because I figured it brings us a lot more perspective about the North and where we're from. I figured, why didn't we have any of these taught to us when we were in high school?
Gordon Tutu isn't against new mineral mines popping up in the territory. He just wants to see Nunavut benefit from the foreseen economic boom from them.
I think that if we can, we should try and build those industries while we have the money coming in from those organizations. I know that the Iqaluit Inuit organization does get royalties from the mine, so I'm hoping that they'll be able to use that to, as they do, create programs for Inuit that'll benefit the health of the communities.
Jobs focused in sustainability and culture are high on his radar.
One thing I am kind of worried about is like if the option for hunting and being sustainable on subsistence economy, if we are not supporting our hunters, then those cultural practices are not also being learned. And it has an effect in multiple ways because that can also affect our mental health.
It's hard for Donovan to leave his family, like his baby niece. He says the best incentives for post-secondary students is to build on programs made for Inuit by Inuit and where Inuit live in communities surrounded by their family.
If there was a university in the north, that would make it a lot easier to access for a lot of people. Giving that opportunity to get an education might inspire more younger people to go and get their education, get their high school diploma.
Like Donovan, Iqaluit Sholdis decided to work in government. But he dreams of a Rankin Inlet where he can work as a full-time guide, and that his sons would also have that option too.
I have tents and stuff. I can accommodate, as long as they're in town, I can accommodate the person, and I can show them wildlife. I can show them polar bears and caribou and falcons and the wildlife they want to come and see, and I can tour them around town to meet people and see different things. But it's to get them here is the struggle.
Charlotte Mort-Jacobs, APTN National News, Rankin Inlet.
And you can find much more on Nunavut at 20 over on our website, aptnnews.ca. Time for another quick break, but stick around. There's more to come. Here's the rest of Tuesday's weather forecast, picking back up in northern Alberta. Plus 12 under sunny skies for Grand Prairie and Fort McMurray. 19 in Medicine Hat and Lethbridge. 14 in Edmonton. Showers and 14 for Campbell River and Vancouver. 13 in Bella Coola. 13 under the sun in Fort Nelson. Plus 3 with snow for Dease Lake. Minus 4 in snow in Old Crow. Plus 4 with snow for Whitehorse. 13 above for Fort Liard, Trout Lake, and Fort Simpson, where showers are expected. Minus 11 in Sax Harbor, snow, and minus 5 for Paulatuck, snow and minus 2 in Colville Lake. Minus 16 in Repulse Bay, 0 for Arviette with snow. Minus 6 in Whale Cove. Minus 18 in Arctic Bay, minus 19 with snow in Iqaluit. Welcome back. We'll close tonight with this story from our colleagues with National Indigenous Television in Australia. It's a story many of us can relate to about a man who spent his childhood in the care of the government.
See the ghost up on the hill.
I want the government to give the stolen generation compensation.
A final plea from a dying man. This is Glenn Atkinson. 4 weeks ago, an 8-centimetre tumour was found in his liver, and his life expectancy cut dramatically short.
Everything else in my body's fine, except my liver, to drink away the memories of the orphanage days. That's the cause of it.
He's now in a race against time to win compensation for himself and his family. It's a fight that started 53 years ago. Glenn was taken to the Alexandra Babies home at just 18 months old. By the age of 5, he was moved to the notorious Ballarat Children's Orphanage, where his formative years were shaped by beatings, sexual abuse, and the theft of his connection to both his family and country. Glenn would spend the next few decades between homelessness and prison.
They took everything from me. They took my family. Once they took that, they took my dreams. They stole my dreaming. They just destroyed everything.
Everything that's happened to him, you couldn't even make that shit up. You know, all the things that have happened to him, and, you know, how many times he's been in and out of jail, that's horrendous.
In a life of tragedy, Glenn has found some joy. We first met him 2 years ago on the happiest day of his life.
Glenn and Miriam, husband and wife, you may now guess the bride.
Both survivors of the stolen generations, the couple became close after Merrin helped Glenn look into his past while working for the Bringing Them Home report.
I don't understand how people can be so cruel to humans. It's just not right. And, you know, how can a government and the churches and the orphanages or whoever, all the people that were involved, how can they sleep at night?
Almost 2 decades later, and Merrin is continuing to fight for her husband. They want to see his application under the National Redress Scheme for Institutional Child Sexual Abuse approved before he dies. But there are already hurdles in sight. Of the more than 2,000 applications lodged in the 6 months the scheme has been open, less than 50 payments have been made. The government say it will fast-track applications where possible, but that applications cannot be progressed if the institution responsible for the abuse is not participating in the scheme.
So CAFS is the organisation that used to run the Ballarat Children's Home and Ballarat Orphanage. My understanding is that CAFS Board of Directors have passed a motion that they will join the scheme. Glenn's situation and the abuse he suffered at the hands of both CAFS and the state government is the most serious of the abuses that you can suffer, and the maximum payment for those abuses is $150,000, and in my estimation he should get the full $150,000.
While they wait, Merrin is leaving no time to waste. 2 weeks ago, the family hosted a celebration of Glenn's life, giving those who knew him the chance to say one last goodbye.
We've had similar journeys in life, and we've come through some fire. And we could be bitter men. We could be angry. We could be violent because of what we have been through. But both of us are better than that. And it took us from a family, took us away. Took us away. Snatched from our mother's breast. Said this is for the best. Took us away. Children being with our children in bed. Took me 12 years bus, but I came back.
Well, that's your APTN National News for this Monday. For news anytime, visit our website, aptnnews.ca, and download the APTN News app. I'm Dennis Ward. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you back here tomorrow.